Hello and welcome to Mythic Mind, where we pursue wisdom on the paths between primary and secondary worlds. I'm Dr. Andrew Snyder, and I'm glad that you're here. Hey there, welcome back as we continue through the fiction and philosophy of C.S. Lewis, which is a study that I independently ran in the summer of 2024. Today I've got a triple header for you. So originally I said that we were just going to do the Silver Chair today, but I really want to wrap up this series in 2025, that way we can start fresh with the new year. And we have some other things to do in December as well. And so here's how this is going to work. In this episode, I'm going to introduce the Silver Chair and the horse and his boy. And then I'm also going to release today, one right after the other, an episode on the Silver Chair, episode on the horse and his boy. But even though I'm releasing all these in one day, back to back, I didn't want to put them together because I feel like separating them out it works a little bit better for the flow, especially for posting over on YouTube. And so you're getting 3 episodes today of Mythic Mind. Now, because we're doing things this way, I'm not going to provide all the normal front and end matter for each of these episodes. And so I'm just going to say for all these right now, thank you for listening. Thank you for your support over on Patreon. If you don't already support me there, then I welcome you to do so. I welcome you to join the Mythic Mind community. As a reminder, just $5 a month will provide you with full access to our Discord server, provide you with the ability to join our live conversations, and you'll get all 3 podcasts delivered early and ad-free into a single feed. And also just help me to keep going further up and further into the various things that Mythic Mind is doing. So again, patreon.com/Mythic Mind. All right, well now let's go ahead and get into my introduction to the Silver Chair and the horse and his boy. I hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome back to a brief introduction to the Silver Chair and the horse and his boy, which, and I know I'm kind of an outlier in saying this, are my favorite and least favorite Narnia book. Now, don't misunderstand me. There are no bad Narnia books. I strongly endorse all of them, strongly enjoy all of them. But in ranking great to best, my personal preference places Silver Chair at the top and the horse and his boy at the bottom. There are a lot of profound things to be found in all these books, but I'm really drawn into the typological myth that we find in the Silver Chair, and let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that. Now, the Silver Chair has it all for me. It has a great use of Platonism and Christian thought, some great teaching on spiritual disciplines, and has a great use of the death and recovery mythological motif. First on the Plato bit, note the importance of knowledge through remembering. Up in the high countries, Jill can see and think clearly, and as Aslan says, when she enters into the low country, she'll find herself in a fog of forgetfulness, which is why she is tasked with repeating these signs to herself, lest she forget. And so we get this idea of knowledge through recovery. And for more on this, you can take the brief Introduction to Ideas course that's coming up. Of course, this is not only a Greek philosophy thing. This speaks directly to Christian practice. Apart from good spiritual habits, we too often move with the rotation of our silent planet away from deep heaven. It takes a fight to do what is right, and a good soldier is disciplined. And so the Platonism and the practical Christian living go hand in hand for Lewis, and done rightly, I think that it is a good combination for all of us. And then we also get the descent into the underworld to recover what's valuable motif that Lewis obviously loved and used in several different ways. This is a theme that we see throughout various mythologies. Hercules frees Alcestis from the land of the dead. Orpheus tries to rescue his wife Eurydice, who had been bitten by a snake and fallen into Hades. But Orpheus disobeys the instructions, looks back, and loses her again. And obviously that imagery with being bitten by a snake, not following directions, that should seem very familiar to us as we read The Silver Chair. And to bring this theme specifically to Lewis, Ransom descends into the caverns of Paralandra to defeat the Unman and secure Paralandra's virtue and place in the heavens. Psyche descends to the underworld, that she might receive beauty from the Queen of the Dead in order to make Unga beautiful. So too, and I won't spoil it just in case there's anyone reading this book for the first time, we're going to get this kind of story playing out in the Silver Chair as well, and I look forward to talking with you about the take that Lewis has on it specifically in this book. Now, Michael Ward associates the Silver Chair with Luna, and as with the Dawn Treader, I think that connection is just abundantly obvious. But here's a little bit of review regarding the influence of Luna. Now, in Greek and Roman myth, Luna is associated with a number of differently named goddesses, such as Selene, Artemis, Cynthia, and Diana, who is associated with hunting. Now, Luna's whiteness and brightness make it natural to associate her with the metal silver, hence the silver chair. The moon's effects upon the tides of seas and rivers meant that Luna became linked with the idea of wateriness, and so she's very fluid. Luna is responsible for inconstancy and doubt. And above Luna's sphere, everything in the heavens was considered perfect and unchanging, but within and beneath Luna's sphere, everything was subject to alteration. She had an influence over wanderers and travelers, as well as sanity, which is why people who lose their wits were called lunatics. And so the moon deals with transitions. It deals with the line between order and chaos, and so it can be connected to forgetfulness, to a lack of reason, and even to the beastly. Remember that it is no coincidence that werewolves are connected with the moon. A misrelation to the moon can cause someone to become so disordered that their beastly nature overtakes their reason, as they are possessed by lunacy. And that will be a significant theme, and of course, on the most obvious level, again, we get the, in the very title of the book, the silver chair. Silver being the metal associated with Luna. And so there's a strong lunar quality to this story. And so just pay attention to that as you go through. Now for The Horse and His Boy. Now, The Horse and His Boy is very unique as it takes place entirely in Narnia, or I guess I should say that it takes place entirely in this other world in which the country of Narnia is located, as it actually mostly takes place in Calormen, which is a stand-in for Arabia or somewhere in the Middle East. This story takes place during the reigns of the Pevensies in Narnia, following the events of the first book, and I think that this book really does well in its placing with the publication order. And so for one, it highlights Calormen and the cult of Tash as we approach the end of the series, and these will be major forces in the last battle, and so I think it's good to bring these to the forefront of our attention as we start to approach the end. Also, we bring the Pevensies back into view, and they're also going to be significant for the last battle. And then next week, we have the Magician's Nephew to deal with the beginnings before we get to the end, and so in my reckoning, this pathway works out really well. Now, the planetary influence associated with The Horse and His Boy is Mercury. Mercury is known to be the fastest moving of the planets, and so we're going to expect that this is going to be an adventure story, a quick moving story, that we are going to cover a lot of ground, literally, as in there's going to be a lot of traveling involved, a lot of fast movement, and also this idea of transportation. And so Mercury directs pious souls to happy dwellings in the afterlife. And so there's kind of a returning home theme here, going to that place where you ought to be. And so that's going to be significant. Also, Mercury's lightness and quickness carry over to the metal with which he was associated, that's Quicksilver, which rolls around in a dish, dividing up into droplets and recombining very swiftly and glitteringly. And this tendency of Mercury to divide and to reunite meant that he became connected with a variety of different things which split up and come back together. He was the god of boxers, of thieves, and even of crossroads. In Greek mythology, Mercury was called Hermes. And so there's this idea of things that split up and come back together, and kind of connected with that idea, we also get the idea of twins. And so twins are associated with Mercury. Thieves, boxers are associated with Mercury, and so keep that in mind as you go through the story. And as the messenger of the gods, Mercury is also said to have a particular responsibility for speech, maybe even in a creature that you wouldn't expect to talk. He was linked to scholarship and to learning. And so just keep all of those ideas in your mind as you read or as you reread through this story. And I think that you'll see a lot of these themes pop up again and again in different places and in different ways. But that's where I'm going to leave you off for now as far as just a brief introduction, and I look forward to going further up and further into these stories. Until next time, Godspeed.